Hello, beautiful, beautiful black people. I hope that all is well in your world, and this was a very, very good day for you and all of your wonderful, wonderful loved ones. Beautiful black people, beautiful black people. Know this. Know that when racist white folks cannot defeat us, when racist white folks cannot persuade us, when racist white folks cannot convince us, they will always find, they will always find a small-minded, empty vessel, big mouth, black coon or coonette. And they will trot out this bootlicking, butt kissing, buck dancing, bamboozled, hoodwinked, half-baked, half-fried, sissified, punkified, pasteurized, homogenized coon or coonette that they can put in front of us and try to convince us to agree with what these white racist white folks are trying to sell or trying to perfect. And for a long time now, the GOP, the Republican Party, Trump have had a white supremacist best friend. Coons and coonettes are the white supremacists' best friends. And that coon, in this case, is named Tim Scott, U.S. Senator Tim Scott. He's a magical coon for the Republican Party and for Trump. He is a magical coon for the white supremacists. Black folks, I believe, literally have magic. Yes, I believe that. But I'm also fairly sure that white folks believe that black folks have magic also. The only reason anyone could subject a people to the invisible but natural force of white supremacy is if they believe that black folks, people that look like me, possessed a power that white folks do not have. And there's no way any human being could deny black folks access to life, access to liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. For this long, more than 400 years without believing that we black folks are sustained by some mysterious or supernatural force that was gifted to us by our black ancestors, by evolution, or even by the same Almighty God that endowed those racist white folks with their unalienable rights. And you do know that the most magical coon right here on this plantation called America, the most magical coon is also a black scapegoat. Do you see how the Republican Party and Trump use that magical coon, Tim Scott, as a scapegoat? A scapegoat is defined as a person or a group that is made to bear the blame for others or to suffer in their place. We have always heard stories about the invisible but always present enigma that exists solely to wipe away the sins of white folks. There is this magical, invisible, ubiquitous thing out there that will wipe away the sins of all racist white folks. Even though more white women voted for a racist president, Trump, than one of their own, this magical coon will say, but those white women are not racist because they voted for Trump. According to some of these white women that voted for Trump, they dated a black guy while in college. And those white boys that voted for Trump were not racist because one of their best friends is black. Or perhaps they had a black brother-in-law, Kevin McCarthy, Devin Nunes. Or maybe they mentored an inner city disadvantaged, underprivileged urban child from a marginalized community. In other words, a black kid. Maybe they mentored a black kid. Where is this unseen? This formerly illiterate thug, Magical Coon. Where is this unseen? This formerly illiterate Magical Coon, penis, and friendly demeanor absolves all of the sins of white supremacy. Tim Scott, that Magical Coon, that scapegoat for the Republican Party, and Trump absolves all of the sins of white supremacy. These magical coons that I'm speaking of at one time were only found in the southern states, but now these magical coons are found in every state where there are black folks. They moved up north. They moved out west. And they are there, free-wheeling, running to the white boys' culture, running away from black folks. You won't see these magical coons on social media, on Facebook, on Twitter. And you won't see these magical coons at Applebee's chilling with a bunch of Karens. These black scapegoats exist. There are plenty of them out there. Tim Scott is white supremacy best friend. As the lone LONE black Republican in the U.S. Senate, Tim Scott is not just responsible for towing the party line, the racist platform of the GOP, and representing his state of South Carolina. He is the epitome. Tim Scott is the epitome of the black scapegoat who proves the GOP, the Republican Party, and Trump is not racist. And because Tim Scott is magical, he always finds a way to Houdini his party, the Republican Party, out of the box of racism the GOP has willingly put themselves in. When they do that, they call on that magical coon named Tim Scott. The reason Tim Scott's statement regarding Trump and the Proud Boys made me cringe was not that he said it 12 hours after Trump called the Proud Boys to stand up and stand by for duty. The reason I cringe is because I feel like I actually know Tim Scott. He is skin folks. He is not kin folks. He is skin folks. He is not kin folks. Aside from the fact that we both grew up in the South and we share an interest in data, statistics, information regarding police shootings. Tim Scott represents the South. He's from a southern state. Do you know that Tim Scott attended Charleston Southern University in Charleston, South Carolina? And he represents all of those black folks that live in North Charleston, South Carolina. And Tim Scott serves on the county council. In the wake of the conversations about police brutality after the death of George Floyd, the white racist Senate Republicans tapped their Magical Coon, tapped their black scapegoat to lead the party's police reform legislation. In doing so, Tim Scott, his office, would reach out to the Root, R-O-O-T magazine, and offered to walk reporters and investigators of the Root through the GOP police reform package, an issue that knows more about and an issue that he knows more about. And I cannot stress that enough. Tim Scott knows more about police brutality and police reform than any other elected official in the federal government. That's that Magical Coon that the white racist Republicans call on frequently to be the scapegoat for the mess that these white racist bastards have created for themselves. For years, Tim Scott has been pushing a piece of legislation named after one of his constituents who was infamously shot by police officer Michael Slager. Remember that? He shot Walter Scott in the back 8 times. And Tim Scott called this piece of legislation Walter Scott's Notification Act. And it would simply require every law enforcement agency in America to report all police shootings and death to the federal government. Tim Scott has tried to pass the proposal as a standalone bill in 2015 to no avail. When he attempted to attach it to a funding legislation, it failed in 2018. As the First Step Act worked its way through the Senate, Scott attempted to slide his much-needed ideal in as an amendment to the groundbreaking criminal reform bill. But police unions whispered in the ears of his fellow white racist Republican legislators. And once again, the Walter Scott Notification Act fell by the wayside. Tim Scott have recently discussed, and he was asked about systemic racism in America. And he danced around the semantics with the agility of a skilled ballerina. He used every imaginable euphemism to avoid acknowledging that systemic racism is in policing. Like his party leader, Tim Scott simply refused to condemn white supremacy. Tim Scott is magical. Tim Scott is magical. Whenever the Republicans contort themselves into a knot regarding an issue, they call on their magical coon, Tim Scott. Tim Scott would say that there's racism in America, but I do not think we are a racist country. Tim Scott said that. He said that there's racism in America, but he do not think we are a racist country. He also said that he thinks there are racial outcomes in policing. And even though I don't think police, by and large, are racist, I think that we have pockets of racism within the police department. But I think most people who become cops do so for the right reasons. And he said he never think that the wording is important. He's not a philosopher for sure. Tim Scott is just another example of when white folks cannot convince us, when they cannot defeat us. They will trot out a bootlicking, a butt-kissing, a bamboozled, a hoodwinked, a buck-dancing, a half-baked, a half-fried, a sissified, a punkified, a pasteurized, and homogenized coon. They will trot the coon out, and that coon becomes the scapegoat, bearing the brunt of all of the sins, punishment, criticism that racist white folks have tapped, nominated, or using him for every day of this black magical coon's life. His name is Tim Scott. He's a U.S. Senator from the state of South Carolina. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay COVID-free.